Alright guys, so welcome back to another what if scenario, and this time around we're gonna have a little fun because this is one I've been kind of thinking about for a bit. This is one I was kind of sitting on for a while, and I thought this would be the one to really have some fun with. Like, this would be the one to really get to play with and all of that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, what if Moon Knight was Gotham's hero? Or what if Moon Knight protected Gotham? I don't know what the fuck I'm going to call it. I'm going to title this. Yeah. So, most of these scenarios, if you're new here, basically what I do is more or less like, no Batman, no Bat family, none of that, and more or less, what's it like if Moon Knight was the, what if Mark Spector was the hero of Gotham? So that's what we're kind of playing with. Everything else is kind of is pretty much the same, but the only difference is Moon Knight, and we're not talking about we're not just talking about the whole thing of Moon Knight and how he'd attack his villain, and how he'd fight Batman's villains, but it's more along the lines of what would it be like if Moon Knight was what would the people of Gotham, like the GCPD and even the citizens of Gotham, even think of Moon Knight? So let's get started. So first and foremost, first thing you have to really establish is that Moon Knight's crazy. And that's the thing. The big thing you have to really look at is that Moon Knight is out of his goddamn mind. But he does have a lot of the same gear, he does have a lot of the setup that Batman has. Now, the difference is that it's 3 different personalities. So, Stephen Grant would still be a wealthy millionaire living as a Gotham socialite, but then you'd have Jake Lockley, who would be like the Matches Malone, who's just kind of down in the dirt and getting all the information, maybe even running guns for the Penguin or Black Mask or something, part of one of those gangs, and Mark Spector, who is Moon Knight. And yeah, so it wouldn't be too far off. But the thing is, rather than alternate identities, they're alternate personalities, and Mark would be working around the clock as those 3 personalities. And keep in mind, there's no Frenchie, there's no Marla, there's none of that. I'm talking about straight up characters from the Marvel Universe. That are on the Moon Knight supporting cast. This would be more of a Moon Knight on his own, and Mark doesn't do well mentally on his own. Let's be real about that one. Mark Spector doesn't do well mentally when he's all by his lonesome. So that's something you really have to take into account, is that Moon Knight's gonna, I imagine Stephen Grant will have a rich socialite, probably banging hot chicks. Jake Lockley will be hitting bars and doing unscrupulous stuff while getting information to Mark and passing it along. And yeah, like I said, the Lockley personality would probably be one of Gotham's one of the gangs, like I said, with Penguin or Black Mask, or even being henchman. I imagine Lockley would that's his thing, is that he would sometimes just be kind of cycled through, if he went to jail, because I imagine he would get locked up and then he would get let out, and Jake would just be Jake would basically be one of those hired hands, hired henchmen that Riddler and Joker and all these other members would recruit them. It would be recruited into, even the Maroni family and all that. Now let's talk about, before we get into the villains, which I know a lot of people really want to talk about, and how Moon Knight would be different from Batman in terms of how he'd handle his villains. Let's talk about Moon Knight's effect on Gotham. If you thought people would be scared of Batman, they got nothing on Moon Knight. I imagine they'd be more Batman is has ingrained himself into Gotham's history and Gotham's mindset as a grim, dark hero, but has allies and whatnot patrolling the city 24/7. Is always someone, even if you're scared of him, you're gonna be safe. Moon Knight doesn't do that. Moon Knight is more about, I'm gonna get the mission done, and I'm gonna there's not a problem with collateral damage, in Mark Spector's opinion. Remember, this is the guy who crashed a plane into a building months after 9/11 to get to one guy. Yeah, So that's the person we're dealing with. If you thought the GCP were divided on Batman, it would be kind of unanimous that Moon Knight would not be trusted. Like Moon Knight, Gordon would see Moon Knight as like a killer and just every bit as horrible as like Joker or all these other madmen and gangsters. He would have, it wouldn't be like with him and Batman where he would trust Batman to do the right thing. He'd be scared of what Moon Knight could do to the city and what he could do, because remember, Moon Knight don't give a fuck about cops either. If corrupt cops or regular Joe cops get in his way, he's gonna break your limb. He's gonna break your bones. He's not gonna kill him, but he is gonna like put him in the ICU. And I imagine Gordon would try to hinder him everywhere he went. I do think that Bullock would be kind of the cop that Moon Knight would kind of have on the inside, maybe Montoya as well. Like I would see, like rather than be with Gordon, Moon Knight would get all of his police information from like Bullock, because Bullock believes in killing a lot of these psychopaths and whatnot. But Bullock and Montoya, I think, would kind of be like the people working for Moon Knight on the inside. Maybe not Montoya, now that I think about it. But Bullock would be an opposite thing, where Bullock, while he is loyal to Gordon, would be like, yeah, this Moon Knight guy gets results, and yeah, I like results. So, there's that. So let's talk about the villains. Oh boy. That villain list in Gotham would be very short. Like, remember how Joker got his face cut off by the doll maker? Now this time it would be Moon Knight who would do that, because that's what he did to Bushman. So I imagine Joker would find like Moon Knight way more fun than Batman. I think Joker would legit see that this guy's as mad as I am, and I can't wait to push him into my level of insanity. Kind of like what Zodiac's trying to do with Moon Knight right now. So it wouldn't be that much different. I also see that Moon Knight would be a real thorn in Ra's al Ghul's side, and I think there would be a lot more mysticism involved as well. I do think that like Moon Knight, Ra's al Ghul would know about the avatars of Khonshu and be like, you're a broken man, Mark Spector, and the puppet of a god, and Moon Knight would be like, yeah, I know, but one of us is walking out of here with their heart still in their chest, and Ra's just like, holy shit, dude. So there would be Moon Knight would have a body count. The long Halloween would be a month. It would be like 3 weeks. That's how long the Halloween would be. Moon Knight doesn't do the whole detective thing. Moon Knight, while he does do like detection and whatnot, Moon Knight is more of, here's my deductive work. You did it. You're going out that window. And like I said, the list of Batman villains super villains in Gotham and crime rate would probably be like, let's get the hell out of Gotham before Moon Knight fucking kills us. Like, I could see like an influx of supervillains in Metropolis, because they're all like, we were getting the hell out of Gotham because that Moon Knight son of a bitch is just fucking murdering us all. And Moon Knight would not be ingratiated with the Justice League. I would see that the Justice League would see Moon Knight as a threat that they would need to take down. And remember, Moon Knight's the same guy who took down the Avengers by himself. He Tower of Babel the Avengers. So I do think if he was in the DC universe, the Justice League would not want him on in their ranks, and in fact see him as someone that would be an enemy to take down. So, yeah. But like I said, Gotham would be a safer place. But safe is kind of relative, really. So that's how I kind of see it. But yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below. What do you guys think it would be like if Moon Knight was Gotham's hero? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I thought this was a lot of fun. This is one I've been wanting to do for a while. This was like one I seriously wanted to do for a while. And I was like, fuck it. I'm finally gonna have a chance to finally like talk about this and do it as its own video. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the multiverse.